Hello to my beginner buddies out there. If you're new to this channel, you're hopefully about to discover that what I do here is try to find the most efficient way and least frustrating way possible for you to learn the instrument. And the stuff we have today is also going to apply to intermediate and even advanced players. If you've been here before, some of what I'm going to talk about in this video, you've probably heard me mention before, but it's really good to drive these practices and techniques home. And the last trick I'm going to show you in here, even my really advanced students can struggle with. It's a difficult one and it's good to start with early. And of course, I'm also going to share my super secret hack for learning the instrument much more fast. More fast? More quickly? I don't know. I don't do English. I do guitar. Oh, hey guys, before I forget, tell me what you think of this guitar. People around me, my friends and bandmates, like half of them think it's the most ridiculous, silly looking guitar ever, and the other half think it's awesome. So let me know what you think of it. This first trick is for when you're starting out and you're just learning your first chords and learning to switch between them. And say we take like a G major here and you switch to an E minor. Maybe when you're first learning, you're having trouble as you're doing those switches. You're strumming and then you go to like move, you pause because it takes a while to get your fingers set. And if you're trying to strum, you just kind of get noise in between. The important thing and the trick here is to keep strumming no matter what. Even if you do have that noise, don't stop and pause and wait for your fretting hand to catch up. So even if I'm kind of having trouble switching, just keep moving the strumming hand evenly in whatever speed that you're doing it. This is going to make your fret hand work to catch up, and you're going to get much better at switching chords more quickly by doing that, I promise you. Okay, the second one is to build strength in all of your fingers. We're going to do something called trills here. That's a little bit of an advanced technique, but you can definitely start doing it early, even if it doesn't sound great at first. We're going to play the first string with our first finger on the 5th fret. And the fingers are 1, 2, 3, 4, by the way. So we're just going to do what's called a hammer-on, where you play the note and then you just press down on the string with your second finger, and then you pull off. You kind of roll off a little bit. And then you're going to do it with your first and your third finger. Those two should feel pretty easy. There's a lot of strength there. When you go to your pinky, it's going to be a little tough. And the trick here is to then do it with the other pairs. Don't just all do it off the first finger like we all learn to do. Do the second and the third, second and the fourth, and the third and the fourth. You're going to learn to build some great strength in your fingers this way, and if you start doing that early, it's going to pay dividends later all the way through your playing. Okay, these next 3 tips all kind of go together because it's a concept that you should take from now all the way into your most advanced days of playing. I'm 30-some years in and I still use it. And that is to break things into the smallest parts that you need to get them right. For the first one, we'll talk about those first open chords you learned again. Let's say you're working on a C major chord and you're having trouble getting all 3 fingers down on the chord. Well, when you first start, just start with the first finger. Even if it doesn't sound great as a chord until you play all of them, this one's not too bad. Then do 2 of the fingers, then do all 3 of the fingers. Break it into the smallest elements that you need to, 1 bit at a time. This also applies to strumming. Some chords you're strumming all 6 strings. You have the G chord. With the C you have 5 strings. With the D you have 4 strings. You can work on, without actually playing the chords, just muting them, just strumming 6 strings up and down, break it into parts. Then strum 5 up and down. Get good at strumming 5. Then get good at strumming 4. Break it into its parts until you're good at it. It's also going to apply to bar chords. So if I'm trying to learn how to play, say, the first A major bar chord and I'm struggling to hold it down, just hold the bar by itself at first. It's not really a great sounding chord, but then add that 1 finger in, add the next one, add the next one. This is going to help you get good at bar chords much faster. So again, all those 3 kind of fit into the same theme. You can do the same thing with leads and riffs that you're learning. Just break them into 2 or 3 notes at a time, 4 notes at a time until you get the whole piece. This next one is really going to help you if you're looking to become a good lead player, and that is about the angle of the pick attacking the string. It's normal or natural for us to think that we need to have it exactly flat to the string, but actually you want to turn it not 45 degrees, but in that direction, 20 to 30 degrees maybe when you're hitting the strings. So if I do it the right way, something like is easy to do, but as soon as I try to turn that pick exactly flat the way you might think you have to, I can't even do it. That little bit of turn makes it so much easier. The next trick has to do with learning your way around the neck, or as far as knowing the notes that you're playing and that is very simply to use the dots. They are there, they're your cheat code. So if you're playing on the open E string and you know that the notes are E, F, F sharp, G, and so on, I'll put them on the screen over here. You first learn that you have a G over here in the first dot, you have the A, B, learn the dots, and you can kind of find your way in between, and then you can use a cool octave hack to figure out the notes on the other strings. But just learn the dots first is the point I'm making. I've had students think that it's somehow like cheating to do that, but that's the point. Use whatever cheat code that it gives you. And I'll link you over here to the lesson on how to use the octave trick. Okay, these next two, I'm not going to be actually playing the guitar at all. These are important concepts that will change how quickly you learn the instrument. And then for the last one, we're going to get to that super advanced trick I was talking about, and I'll have to switch over to the other camera over there so we can use the computer at the same time. So the first of the pair of reminders or concepts is to remember everything you're working on, to stay relaxed. Keep that forearm relaxed, keep this forearm relaxed. Don't be trying to hold things tight and get yourself all tensed up when you're learning your chords and your bar chords or whatever leads and stuff that you're changing. It's very easy to get caught up in that tenseness, and it's almost like thinking of if you were trying to rum with your legs tight, it would never work. It's the same thing with the guitar. Stay loose, stay loose, stay loose. This next one is the super secret hack. This is what I've mentioned on this channel many times, and I'm just going to kind of summarize it here, and that is to work in sprints, not marathons. When you're working on things to practice, whether it be chord changes, leads, scales, whatever specific things you're trying to get better at, work in blocks of about like 10 to 15 minutes at a time. Find 2 or 3 things that you work at, rotate between them, and then take a break. If you're new and you don't have a lot to work on, take a break, walk away from the instrument for a good 15 or 20 minutes, then come back and pick it up. And do this as many times a day as you want to, 4 or 5 times a day. Don't try to work a straight hour through. It's going to be much more difficult to absorb the information and get your muscles working the way you want them to. If you work in sprints, not marathons, you're going to learn much more quickly. When you become a more advanced player, instead of walking away from the instrument, you can work then just playing songs and jamming and doing stuff that you already know, and then go back to the difficult thing. Okay, now let's switch over to the computer camera over here so I can load up some drums and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I have a copy of Easy Drummer loaded here, and this is all about learning to keep time. And if you get good at this, it's going to make your playing so much better. Someone who has groove and time really knows how to hold a crowd. So what I'm going to do is play a beat. I'm going to play along with it, just a basic, I'll just chunk on an A chord there to make it simple at first. And I'm going to have the beat drop out for a couple measures and see if I can keep time well enough so that when it comes back in, I'm still playing. Here we go. Simple, 8th notes. Now can I keep time when it goes out? It's coming back. Yeah, I stayed in time. Now it's an easy one, just chunking 8th notes. You can do it with something more complex, like a groove thing. Let's see if I can play like a riff and keep that going in time. That becomes a lot harder because you tend to want to speed up. Hey, I did it. So this is a great technique. You can do it 2 measures at a time, stretch it out to 4 measures, as far as you need. Do it with songs that you're working on, your own songs. Get really good at staying in time and not needing drums. Have an internal metronome or an internal drum beat, and people are going to really appreciate your playing. All right, there they are. In a quick summary kind of form, the 10 important things that I wished I had known when I began so I could learn faster and with less frustration. I've included, as you saw, links where I could that go out to all of the lessons that expound on them when it applies, and I'll put that in the description below as well. Anyway, I hope you get a lot of mileage out of these lessons, and they're really helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I do get back to everyone as soon as I can, and until next time, guys, keep making great music. Hey friends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. It makes the whole world better.